Hey beautiful world, so my name is Shana Rose Crawford and this is another episode of Mental Wellbeing Journey. I wanted to talk to you today about books. For some reason or another, I've been able to read a lot lately. Now, I know that you know that I'm an author, and so you're probably thinking, no brainer, an author should read a lot, but for some reason I would read and then I would stop and I'd pick up one book and then read like a couple of pages, read another book, and maybe it's because of my anxiety and my busy mind, but I can't concentrate on one thing, and that used to be such a problem for me when I wanted to read so many of these books. It's like, oh, this one sounds just like me, this one sounds so amazing, this one could really help with this one could really help with that, and then my list would grow and grow, but I wouldn't be tackling any of them, and so obviously I hit a brick wall. But for some reason lately, I've been able to read. Something just clicked in me. I picked up the books just as I always would when I tried to get back into reading, and for some reason I completed it. And then I picked up another one and I completed that one, and I picked up another one and I completed that one, and it's so weird and it's such a great feeling. And so I want to say to people who think that, oh, I just can't read or it's just not for me, that may be the case now, and that's fine, that's okay. Maybe your mind isn't ready yet, maybe you haven't grown enough, or something hasn't happened in your life, or you've just not wanted that change enough yet, but something will click, as it did with me, and one day you will finish a book and it will feel amazing. The first one I did was Looking for Alaska by John Green. I absolutely loved this book, and I didn't expect to. Like, I read Paper Towns a while ago and I watched the film and I really loved it, so I already knew that I liked John Green, and so I thought he wasn't such a scary one to tackle, and the book's quite short. I think it's under 300 pages, and so that seemed like an easy task for me. And of course it's a YA book, it's young adult fiction, so I'm a young adult, I can enjoy it, but also, you know, it's kind of aimed at teenagers, and I was like, yeah, this is a reading level that I can do. I shouldn't really be jumping into, you know, these high scale books that are 800 pages long but really, really fulfilling, because it just doesn't make sense that I'd be able to tackle those books. So I needed to start small and work my way up. That was my plan. And reading this book, I don't know, the characters were just so spot on, and I think that's what John Green's greatest trait is, that he builds characters that just feel so real. When reading Paper Towns, even if nothing much was going on in terms of the narrative, you loved the characters so much because they interacted with each other in a very real way. Like, when you're doing young adult fiction or teenage books, it is hard to get it right, because you can come across cheesy with your writing because you're trying to be a teenager when you're evidently not. But John Green just does this perfectly, and he extends that to Looking for Alaska too. The main characters, Pudge, Alaska, the Colonel, Takumi and Lara, are all really quirky people, but they all share one thing in common, in that they have a hard past, or they don't know who they are, or they're a bit of a misfit, and that's why it works for them. And I think that's why it worked for me as well, because I've always felt like a misfit. People would be drinking in the park at school and I wouldn't want to do it, I didn't really understand why, and I went once, didn't like it, never went back again. It didn't matter that all my friends were doing it, I didn't feel the need to do it, I just did whatever I wanted to do. And I'm really glad that I grew up that way, but maybe that contributed to my anxiety, in that I didn't know who I was, I felt like I wasn't part of a real group. And I reckon that a lot of teenagers, well, definitely a lot of teenagers feel that way, and maybe even young adults too, because fitting in today's society seems so important now. And with social media, these groups that we get put in, these categories, you're this, you're that, you're this, you're that, and if you don't have this many followers, then you don't say these things and you're not right. But reading these kind of books really reminds you that it doesn't matter if you're a misfit, it doesn't matter if you feel like you don't connect with the world right now, because all you have to do is to continue being yourself and the right people will find you. And that's such a beautiful message that I think not enough people will get if they don't read these kind of books. And so I was really glad that I did, and especially at this time in my life where I feel a bit lost, I've reminded myself that although I might not have the right people in my life right now, the right direction in my life right now, doesn't mean I never will find it. And if I continue being myself and doing whatever makes me happy, then those things will come to me. The universe works weird that way. The other book that I finished reading was The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and that was really, really similar in that it was very emotional, and it was about teenagers going through hardships that you wouldn't want any teenager to go through. And the main character Charlie, who's writing letters to an unknown friend, he's probably got a spot of Asperger's or some sort of similar autistic disorder, and I found that writing to be beautiful for that very reason. And it made me realise that, as I wrote in one of my blog posts, that beautiful souls come in odd, strange packages. And I mean that in the nicest terms of those words, because people who we walk past and they might say something quirky or something that you don't understand, it's like, why are you saying that? Those people are the people that we should talk to, because those people will be so interesting and they will view the world in a way that we can't. And to be able to speak to them will open our minds up so much more than anything ever could. And so I encourage people to speak to those type of people. And if you are one of those people who feels that you just say the wrong thing all the time, please don't worry. Right now, yes, it probably does feel a bit crap, but I promise you, if you continue to be you and love yourself and use your brilliant mind in creative, intellectual ways, then the world will reward you, and people will find you who appreciate you for who you are, just as Charlie did. Because he had a really hard past, and what you find out what happened to him in the end was really, it's disgusting, it's awful, but that didn't stop Charlie from having a really great life and finding really great friends, and that's a really good message.